If you're an avid hip-hop listener, chances are you've heard Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clipse. The brotherly duo of rappers Pusha T and Malice started releasing music back in the 90s, but mainly reached stardom when their major label debut, Lord Willin', produced by the Neptunes, released in 2001, with some songs even reaching the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100. After dropping a classic, followed by a disappointment in the following years, Pusha and Malice decided to split up and go their own separate ways. Push especially blossomed with his Good Music contract and classic solo albums such as Daytona, while Malice was less active but still released a few projects. Clipse finally reunited on Kanye's Use This Gospel, but nothing was official until a Louis Vuitton show in 2024, where they revealed that a new album was being worked on, with Pharrell Williams as the sole producer. Fast forward to 2025, and the album releases to universal acclaim from basically everyone that isn't a white 14-year-old Travis Scott dick rider with ice cream hair. While it has its contenders for Album of the Year, I really haven't been able to put it down since it was released. And practically every single verse on here has quality in it, so why not give you guys a shorter video during the wait for the Kendrick ranking. Speaking of Kendrick, this ranking does include feature verses as well. Here's every verse on Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clipse ranked from worst to best. Number 32, Abliva on Inglorious Bastards. Definitely not one of my favorite features on the album. Abliva has a great flow, and I fuck with the rhymes, but the lyrics here are kind of just saying, hey, I'm rich, and here's the sick things that I can do that you can't. I know Clipse has a lot of lyrical content like that too, but whenever they do, they at least make it interesting with some metaphors and understandable references here and there. But this one's pretty void of that, maybe besides the Rudolph line. Number 31, Pharrell on EBITDA. Obviously Pharrell is not as impressive a rapper as Push or Malice, but he still sounds pretty great here with some solid rhymes and a nice tribute to Takeoff. Now, I'm going to spend the rest of this segment talking about my gripes with Pharrell's other performances. As much as I adore his production on this album, his vocal performances are probably this album's weakest link in my opinion. Specifically So Far Ahead and By the Grace of God. He just sounds like he's making a chorus for the Despicable Me soundtrack on both of those songs, and it just doesn't fit in my opinion. His chorus on All Things Considered is pretty great though. Same with Chains and Whips. Number 30, Pusha T on EBITDA. Sure, I might have said that Pharrell isn't as good as Clipse rap-wise, but let's be honest, this verse isn't Push's craziest either. It's better than Pharrell's verse because I do really like the rhyme scheme and flow here, but it's a pretty standard Pusha T coke rap verse. Not to say that this song isn't great, but I do wish they did more with it because the beat is absolutely incredible, and it could have been an even better song than it already is. Number 29, Pusha T on Inglorious Bastards. Honestly, not my favorite song lyrically or sonically on the album, but that's really not saying much. Push is still spitting here, and the rhyme schemes are great as always. Just nothing that pushes it over the edge from being an average Pusha T verse. Again though, an average Pusha T verse being an 8 out of 10 really shows you how great he is. By the way, this song really likes to tell us that this is culturally inappropriate for some reason.
This is culturally inappropriate. 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 This is culturally inappropriate.
Number 28, Malice on Inglorious Bastards. Like Push's verse, I don't think this is one of the most impressive on the album, but I'll say I slightly prefer Malice's cadence here, although it is much shorter than Push's verse. Also, that goat shit bar kind of reminds me of
Yellow diamonds look like PP. Bitches fly from DC on my private to Waikiki. 3P.
Although, at least this one kinda has a double entendre. I just didn't really need to picture Malice stepping in goat shit, but it is what it is. Number 27, Pusha T and Malice on EBITDA. A verse where Pusha T and Malice go bar for bar is never going to be subpar, let's be real. This isn't the only time they do this on the album, and I wouldn't even say this is the best version of it, but Push and Malice literally going bar for bar is super entertaining to listen to. Similar to the first two verses, it's not one of the deeper cuts on this album lyrically, but I think the back and forth cadence is enough for me to really enjoy the verse. Number 26, Pusha T on FICO. I'm going to talk a lot about how Clipse likes to do a single rhyme scheme for a whole verse, and while this isn't one of my favorite verses on the album, I do have to admit that rhyme scheme wise, it's one of the most impressive. For as long as this verse is, and for as many words as Push is able to fit in, you can still look at the first and last bars of this verse and they'll rhyme. Very, very impressive. Besides that, it's not one of the stronger verses lyrically, but I do really like his delivery here. Number 25, Pusha T on So Far Ahead. Push's delivery on this verse is nasty. I've never heard someone sound so pissed, yet so happy at the same time. I really want to know how he was feeling when he wrote this verse. The only negative of this verse that I could think of is that I don't really know what he's talking about half the time, but I think that's more of a me problem. At least I understood what he meant when he said he can whip a Christmas Eve in a hot stove. Number 24, Pusha T on By the Grace of God. A great closing verse to the album, and an interesting one at that, because it's one of the only times we see Pusha get religious. Similar to Malice's verse, he describes the amount of shit he's done and went through in his life that could have easily got him killed or arrested. So it's clearly the work of God, who knew that Push was meant to strive in the rap game. I also really like the first few lines about the Black Cats and Black Max, basically saying that the conditions in which he was brought up in weren't fit for him to actually survive, which really adds to him escaping the odds by the grace of God. Great verse. Number 23, Pusha T on All Things Considered. One of Pusha's more personal verses on the album, where he details his wife's miscarriage and keeping it from his son. He basically just describes how he's been these past few years, with some sick bars as usual. And I love the wordplay with the religious line.
So religious, that's so malicious.
I wouldn't say it's one of his most impressive verses flow-wise on this album, but that's not really saying anything. Number 22, Pusha T on So Be It, verse 4. When this song first came out, all the hype around it was because of this verse specifically, where Pusha T subliminally disses Travis Scott. And after hearing the song, this was the part of the song I cared about the least. Don't get me wrong, the disses here are great, but when the rest of the song is as good as it is, I'm not going to care about a potential rap beef that everyone knows who's winning more than this insane Pharrell beat and Clipse performance. Besides all of that though, the bars here are really good, and the backstory of Pusha's problems with Travis is actually hilarious. Basically, Pusha views Travis as a whore. No, that's not just me saying that. Pusha has literally said himself that Travis is a whore. He kind of just jumps to whatever artist will benefit him more in that instance, which is very true if you think about it. As big of a Travis Scott fan as I am, I'm not going to pretend like he's not a total piece of shit, and the fact that anyone was actually trying to compare mid-ass Jack Boys 2 to this album is hilarious. Number 21, Pusha T on So Be It, verse 1. When you start a song by saying that your grandma knew you were going to be a hustler from the day you were born, I think that's when everyone knew that this was Song of the Year. Sure, this is one of the shorter verses on So Be It, but the rhyming is still on point, and Push just sounds so good over what might be a top 5 Pharrell beat ever. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Number 20, Pusha T on Chains and Whips. Super menacing verse from Push here, but we're not just gonna lie and say that this isn't the least interesting part of the song. Not that that really means much, since we are talking about a top 5 song of the year, but Push himself has said that he had no idea what else he could possibly spit on this beat after his incredible chorus. Apparently he's talking to Jim Jones on this verse, but I don't really think it even matters who he's talking about, because this is the menacing Pusha T we all know and love. So I feel like this is really targeting anyone who tries to test him. Besides that though, the rhyme schemes are really good, and that Heaven and Hell bar is flames. Number 19, Malice on All Things Considered. Amazing storytelling from Malice here, where he explains his life as a coke dealer and why he ended up leaving that lifestyle behind. He started to realize after years of hustling that all that came from it was pain and suffering, with Malice losing all of his friends to death or prison, and he knew he would be next if he didn't do something. Malice instead turning his life to rap and God is the way he can make a difference, which he most definitely did. Besides Nas, I don't remember an old retired rapper having this much of a comeback ever. Malice will 100% go down as one of the best of all time, alongside Push. Number 18, Malice on So Far Ahead. Malice's bars about Christianity are so good that sometimes it makes me think the guy became a diehard Christian just so he could have crazy bars when he returned to rap. Like, come on, just listen to this.
No mistaking me for the reverend. Usher in the money, my confession.
Malice doesn't even have to be super lyrical with his bars for them to hit either. Like this bar.
Walking with my dog, I am legend.
It's so simple yet so effective. Don't think I ever listened to that bar and didn't laugh. Number 17, Malice on By the Grace of God. Such a fitting final verse for Malice on the album. A huge theme of Malice's return to rap is his newfound faith. And here he really sits back and asks himself how the fuck he's even here right now. So many of Malice's friends and peers ended up dead or in jail from doing the same exact shit he was. And he believes that he's still here to tell the story by the grace of God. Such a beautiful and sad final verse for Malice here. One of the greatest comebacks in rap for sure. Number 16, Malice on Mike Tyson Blow to the Face. I will say that I do prefer the Pusha T verse on this song, but that does not discredit Malice's verse here at all. This is one of the album's best songs, and Malice's verse is a large component of that. Like Push's verse, the beat drop does go insane here, and Malice describes how he's easily the best at what he does. The 96 Hove with the bass bar is also insane, and the bass does go fucking crazy on Reasonable Doubt, let's be real. Number 15, Pusha T and Malice on Let God Sort 'Em Out / Chandeliers. Like I said earlier, anytime Pusha and Malice go back and forth, it's gonna be hard as hell. This verse happens to be even better though, since their delivery here is just unmatched. Especially the way Push pronounces this line.
Like baseball and DR. You know what the stick will do.
The delivery is also super menacing as always, where the both of them talk their shit about people who prey on their downfall, as these people are always the unsuccessful ones in the end. This Pharrell beat's fucking nasty too. Number 14. Pusha T on POV. Crazy Push verse, where the rhyme scheme is consistent the whole way through. I've heard people complain about his monotone delivery on this track, but I love it. I feel like the energy of not giving a fuck just fits this verse so well. He's pretty much just talking his shit here, saying that he'll forever be a rap legend, while new guys are just getting their 15 seconds of fame by botted streams. The Malcolm X bar is hard too.
Shotgun with your ex feels like Malcolm's near.
Number 13. Malice on Chains and Whips. You know how I said Push's verse was super menacing? Well, Malice somehow cooks up an even more menacing verse than he did. I mean, his delivery alone is enough to scare like 90% of white women above the age of 40, and the bars don't make it much better. It genuinely feels like I'm watching The Godfather at certain points, with lines like,
Bubbles was sick, he need medicine. Brought him back to life, now he's dead again.
And the best part of this menacing Malice is that he ties it all together with bars about him being Christian. He literally says, John 10:10, that's my usual, right after making a gasping sound. Somehow not the best verse on the song either. Number 12. Malice on FICO. Lyrically, this is probably the most impressive verse on the album. I'm not going to explain the depth of this verse because Dissect Podcast already has a great short form video talking about it that I'll leave a link to below. But basically half of the bars in this verse have a number in them, and if you add the first digits of each number up, you get 48, which sets up the final punchline of the verse.
My story gon' hit the first 48, then it's on Dateline, cause this really shit I done.
You could make the argument that this makes this the best verse on the album, but I'm not going to pretend like I would have caught that at all had I not seen the Dissect Podcast video. Still very impressive though, so I have to give props. Number 11. Pusha T on Mike Tyson blow to the face. This verse shows Push at his most energetic point on this album, with him almost yelling into the mic at certain points. And it's fire. The longer we wait for the beat to drop, the harder it hits when it happens. And I think the beat drop speaks for itself.
Leave impression, what's a testarossa if you don't test them? Ain't your bitch unless you joystick and dress them.
Also, can I just add that White Slave Master Souls has gotta be my favorite way a rapper has ever referred to money. Tell me that's not the most creative description of money you've ever heard. Number 10. Nas on Let God Sort 'Em Out / Chandeliers. The fact that this feels like a subpar Nas verse shows you that there really is no one better than him. First of all, the beat drop on this verse is just stupid.
Single-handedly boosted rap to its truest place.
In the lyrics, Nas basically reclaims the throne and reminds everyone that yes, he is the greatest rapper alive. You know, in case they somehow forgot. He also reminds you through the rhyming as well. The rhyme schemes here are just as good as they were on Illmatic. He seriously has not lost his touch in the slightest. Comment down below if you want a Nas ranking, because that would be so fun to do. Number 9. Malice on Ace Trumpets. Malice has got to be one of the only guys who can start a verse by literally just saying penne alla vodka, and I'm just like, yeah, fair enough. One of the only songs on the album where I would say that Push and Malice's verses are on the same level for me, but that's not because Malice's verse is weak at all. Push's verse is just insane. I will say that I prefer the bars on Push's verse, but this verse is easily more fun to listen and rap along to. He does the same thing as Push by rhyming one word for the whole verse, and this of course brings us some great bars.
Never leaving home without my piece like I'm a hot ma. Dressed in house of Gucci made from selling Lady Gaga.
This was technically Malice's comeback verse for the rap game, and what a verse it is for that. Number 8. Pusha T on Ace Trumpets.
Yellow diamonds look like PP. Bitches fly from DC on my private to Waikiki. 3P.
Okay, so the first time I ever listened to this song, this was my reaction to that bar. And now this is more of my reaction to that bar, you know, on like the 50th listen. Yes, this is technically completely biased due to how many times I've spun this album, but it seriously is a really funny bar, as bad as it is. He rhymes PP with Wakiki, with 3P, with repeat, with Michis, with easy, and it just keeps going. The thing I love specifically about this is how he bends words to fit the rhyme scheme, but none of them feel forced, like this bar.
White glove service with the brick, I am Luigi.
Usually if someone was making a Mario punchline, they would mention Mario, not Luigi. But because of the rhyme scheme, Push is able to give the better brother some love here. And this bar too.
International flights connect me to the Wi-Fi, the only way you reach me,
Obviously Wi-Fi doesn't rhyme with the other words, so he instead uses the French pronunciation of Wi-Fi, which also connects with the international flights part of the bar. Insane verse all around. Number 7. Pusha T on So Be It, verse 2. It really hurts not to give every single verse on this song a 10, but I guess there are more impressive verses elsewhere on the album. This is still a phenomenal verse though, with Push spitting his usual coke bars with a crazy rhyme scheme. You would think that Push rapping about coke for 25 years would get boring, but he somehow finds new ways to describe it every time, which keeps it from feeling redundant. He doesn't even say coke in this verse at all, instead referring to it as Yeti or Kelly. Some great wordplay as well. Amazing verse all around. Number 6. Pusha T on The Birds Don't Sing. The Birds Don't Sing is a beautiful song and intro to this album, with both Push and Malice talking to one of their deceased parents, here being Push talking to his mother. The way Push describes his guilt for not doing things he wanted to do before his mom passed is something that I think basically all of us can relate to, but he takes it to another level here when describing his selfishness in their last conversation, and even the fact that his mom was against what he was doing. The whole verse is pretty sad lyrically, but the actual sound of the song kind of juxtaposes it, sounding more positive and accepting of his mother's passing. And these deep and personal themes don't sacrifice bars at all, with there still being some great wordplay here. Fantastic and very sad verse, but uplifting at the same time. Number 5. Malice on POV. The beat switch on this song might be one of the nastiest beat switches of all time. Like, if that first beat wasn't fire enough, Pharrell just had to make a better one. And about the actual verse, yeah, Malice goes fucking insane. Again, that menacing cadence is so captivating here, and the bar work is flawless.
Came back for the money, that's the devil in me. Had to hide it from the church, that's the Jekyll in me.
If I lied to myself, I could sell it to me? How the fuck does he do it? Not sure if you guys are aware, but for a little bit after the album released, they for some reason decided to ruin the beat switch on this song by making the first beat come back earlier than it did. And if you were already used to the original version of the song, then it almost made the new version unlistenable. Thankfully, many people noticed this, so they ended up changing it back, and I think it's been on my weekly earbuds ever since. Number 4. Tyler the Creator on POV. This might just be Tyler's best feature ever. And yes, that means it's better than his feature on Something to Rap About. First of all, you can just tell this is Tyler's dream come true, cause his energy on this verse is fucking insane. There's not many other instances of Tyler sounding like this at all. And second, his bar work is even better than it usually is, which honestly is saying something, because Tyler usually has some great bars. As a white guy, I will admit that the digs at white people are very funny here, especially
I'm like white bitches the way I pop shit.
He also seemingly disses Cardi and Kanye, two people he's worked with in the past. The Cardi diss is mostly just a rumor, but I think we can basically all agree that he's talking about Kanye here. I know we kinda got an album with verses like this, with Call Me If You Get Lost, but I would gladly take another one any day of the week. Although Tyler has been dropping a lot recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a few years before the next album. If you guys want a Tyler ranking, then comment down below. Not opposed to that in the slightest. Anyways, peak verse. Number 3. Malice on The Birds Don't Sing. I'm not crying, man. You're crying. You're crying. You're crying. It's hard to not bawl my eyes out from basically any line in this verse. Since Push talked about their moms passing, we now have Malice talking about their dad on verse 2. And he somehow makes it even more depressing than verse 1. Malice details his father always being there for him and his family, like when he would always work overtime hours with a smile, and even being a father figure to Malice's friends who didn't have one. Possibly my favorite line of the song.
Shared you with my friends, the pops they never had. You lived for our fishing trips, damn I had a dad.
But similarly to Push's verse, Malice also expresses the regret of letting his father down, describing how he would do anything for his son just to find drugs around the house. But again, just like verse 1, as sad as these bars may be, the sound and overall message of the song feels positive, since their parents are now in a happier place, and clearly love the both of them as much as two parents could. Also, I never really thought much of that final line, but now knowing that it was actually true, yeah, just leave me alone for a few days, man. Number 2. Malice on So Be It. Malice has literally 1 out of the 4 verses on this song, yet his is somehow the best one. I'll be honest, I was only really familiar with Push before this album's rollout, so this was my main first introduction to Malice, and man, what an introduction it was. So many standout bars here, such as,
You ain't believe, God did, you ain't Khaled. Can't wrap your head round that, you ain't Arab. Ain't no more Neptune, so peace Saturn.
The verse is also similar to Push's verse, with the rhyme scheme basically staying the same all the way through. But something about Malice's delivery here makes it one of the best on this album. The best part is, this verse could have been like an 8 out of 10, and the song still would have been a 10 on 10. That's just how insane this Pharrell beat really is. Number 1. Kendrick Lamar on Chains and Whips. Every song in the book of Genesis let the sonics boom? What? I just want you guys to know that you're not even remotely ready for the glaze you're going to see in my Kendrick verse ranking video, but I really don't care. The only reason I don't say that Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper of all time with confidence is that Illmatic exists. Continuing with the menacing theme of this song, this verse once again one-ups the previous one, which makes for possibly my favorite verse of the year, and a top 10 Kendrick feature ever. Similarly to GNX and the Drake beef, Kendrick is done with the bullshit. He doesn't even try to hide it either, with lines like,
Therapy showed me how to open up. It also showed me I don't give a fuck.
The first part of the verse is more simple flow-wise, which I really like. But as soon as the insane rhyme scheme starts, I think everyone knew this was the best verse on the album. The wordplay and alliteration in essentially every single line is completely unmatched. I recommend every Clipse or Kendrick fan watching this to memorize this verse, because it's genuinely so fun to rap along to. Undeniably one of his best ever verses, and the best verse on this album. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I know this was a shorter video. I just felt like, you know, since the Dexter video took so long to come out and, you know, I haven't uploaded in a minute, why not give you guys a shorter video, you know, in waiting for that Kendrick video. I haven't really started working on it yet, to be honest with you guys. Mostly been working on this video. Well, if I'll be honest, I've mostly been chilling since the Dexter video came out. It's just it was so much. But, you know, I've been kind of slowly getting back into the swing of it, editing for the Odyssey group channel, go sub there, and I've been working on this video. Hopefully this will come out, you know, within a week or two of me recording this, sometime early November, maybe. The Kendrick video I want to come out by the end of the year. I don't know if that's possible. I mean, we're in, like, November now, so, I'm gonna try. If it doesn't happen, I'm sorry. After the Kendrick video, I think I'm probably gonna do an update video. I want to switch some things around with the channel, you know, trying to grow the channel. You know, I'm gonna start doing things a little differently. You guys voted after the Kendrick video. Next episode ranking I'm gonna do will be Mr. Robot. If you guys have any ideas for like things that aren't either a verse ranking or an episode ranking, comment down below, because I love doing these videos, but I would also love to do something different if any of you guys have any ideas. Like, I can't really think of anything. I'm not too creative. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you with that Kendrick video. Go subscribe to the Odyssey.